Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Justin, and we're here this week to talk about goal setting. We're here to sit there and talk about how we can make sure we get 2021 started right. And I know everybody might be saying, this is probably a little too early for that. And maybe it is in some of your situations. Everything in real estate is very, very local, and the market is a little different. But if you look at normal stats across the country and across areas, typically it takes no less than 60 days to complete a transaction right now. Somewhere right around 45 days to have a mortgage completed, to get all that stuff done, to get that out there and close the table from there. And then it also takes just a little bit of time to get the property sold. Now, sometimes we're in really hot markets. It may only take a couple days, but in some situations and in many, it's going to take a week or two before you get that offer to come in and things like that. Again, I understand we're all talking about local numbers. So know your numbers. And that's going to be one of the first things we talk about today is know your numbers. And you got to know your area to know what you're going to do. But the reason I am talking about goal setting in October is if you want to get 21 started right, you need to have those goals running now. That way you can have your first closings in January and not putting yourself behind the eight ball. Now, if you don't want to do that, or if you catch this episode later in life, that's fine. Start it then, and then decide what your yearly calendar looks like, right? Is it January from January? Is it June to June, right? What is it? How you're going to manage that? But make sure at all times that you have that and you do it consistently, right? So the goals can be anytime you want. I do like setting them from year to year. It works for me. My brain just thinks better that way, but maybe it won't work for you. Many businesses, their yearly cycle is, October to October or June to June, things like that. So don't worry about that so much. Okay. So either way, that's just the first thing. And that's why we're talking about goals today, because we just want to make sure we get you guys set up and running out there. Okay. So why goals? Why do we do this? Well, first place, goals are one of those tools that we use to challenge ourselves, to motivate ourselves, to know what we should be doing every day, right? One of the most challenging things that we have in real estate, or one of the most common things I hear in real estate every day, is the fact that when people struggle, they struggle because they ebb and flow, right? They ebb and flow because of various reasons, but I believe one of them is they don't have goals, so they don't know what they're doing every morning to get up. Again, that's only one of the reasons why the business is rather helter-skelter for some people. Many of you probably don't have that problem, and that's awesome. But for those of us that need to have that, and we want to have that in here, I'm going to walk through some steps today on how to get those goals set up for you that will make this work for you in a very quick and easy manner, and make it something that you will wake up energized. You will wake up ready to go. You will know what you're supposed to be doing every day, because those goals are driving you. They are challenging you to make the best out of your day. And I'll be honest with you, what I'm going to use and what I've used for years that has worked for me is I am going to run you through Think and Grow Rich Desire chapter. There are basically 6 steps, is what I call the 6 steps for the goal, that you're going to come out, and when you're done, you're going to have this accomplished. And when that's all said and done, you will have the ability there to have a goal and something that's going to drive you. It's going to build that energy in for you that will keep you moving. Okay. So let's begin. Again, there are 6 goals, and we're going to go through those. And what I want to talk about first is two real big things, and that's before we get to the 6 steps. One is you're going to hear a lot of people, you're going to hear a lot of folks talk about writing SMART goals, and I think it's an incredibly thing to do. I think it's great to do. And SMART stands for, if you're not aware for it, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Well, I like to do it just a little different. And when I do this and I write the SMART goals out, it's specific, it's measurable, it's accountable, it's realistic, and timely. The reason I do that, and we're going to talk about the realistic here in a second, but the reason I say accountable and not attainable, because attainable and realistic, they'll kind of bounce along the same way. But here's the thing. You're going to want to share these goals. When you get them written, have them for yourself, but you're going to want to share them with somebody, a peer partner, someone in your office that you work with, someone that you deal with on a daily basis that will help you stay motivated. I teach a class. I have a business builder class. You guys can find it online if you come across this, and it's available for you to purchase. And we go into a little bigger detail about this. But the reason that the group works, and the group works so well, is there is an accountability section in there where people will come in and they will fill their numbers in. And I do that for a couple reasons. I do that, one, and the biggest one is for the accountability. I want people to find and be motivated and to get this done. The other reason is it's motivating when you see successes based on what you're doing. It's good to do, and it's a good habit to build because you want to track your numbers. But make that accountable, remove the attainable. And then as far as that realistic part in here goes, don't get caught so up in the realistic side of this. One of my favorite quotes is from Les Brown. And that quote basically says this: people don't fail because they aim too high, have a target too high and miss, but rather they aim too low and hit, right? Now, I am not saying that if you have not made $5,000 in transactions in your first year of business, that you should say your goal is $1 million. I'm not saying you shouldn't either, but that may be something that is a little tough to reach because you haven't built any business practice to actually get that. But with that being said, if you're motivated enough, it will happen for you. And you can find people out there that can help you get it done, right? There's plenty of there's plenty of groups, there's plenty of people, there's plenty of training that will help get that done for you. So don't hesitate to lean on that if you do that. But what I'm really talking about with the realistic side of this is not only know your reality, but know what your future reality looks like. Know what you want that reality to be and go get it, right? So you've made 50,000 last year in your transactions. Okay, up the game, do 100,000. You should be able to easily double your business with no problem. And that's usually a pretty good goal to go, is if you did something last year, double it for this year. Again, you can always go bigger. It's going to require bigger steps. It's going to require bigger motivations, bigger desire, but you can always do that. So when you do this, when you start setting these goals, and we start talking about these 6 steps here in a second, make sure you understand that those goals should be a challenge, right? They should stretch you. They should stress you just a bit. They should do something inside the business for you that will motivate you to do and get up and do things, right? So don't confuse realistic for low. Take realistic for a challenge, right? Something that you can realistically challenge yourself for, go after, and do things. And it will be really good for you to do. Okay, so for this, what we have is the 6 steps. These 6 steps are this. Sorry, I'm just looking for something real quick, folks. I just want to see something real quick. Okay, good. So these 6 steps are this, and we're going to walk through each one of them here in a second. But the 6 steps in the Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill is this. It is, got to identify how much you're going to make. You need to know what you want to give. You're going to have to talk about what you want to do it. Actually understand what those steps really look like. And then you're going to write a concise statement, and then we're going to read it twice daily. And again, we're going to go through each one of these here in great detail. But I do just want to make sure we had those just out there at the very beginning. Okay, so the first step, how much do you want to make? Again, go back and look at that. When you have that SMART set of goals, you have that realistic, timely, what you want to have that money specifically out there. Have that sitting in place for you that you want to know. Is it 50,000? Is it 100,000? Is it 250? How much it is you want to make? Now, you may not know that, right? You may be in the very beginning part of your career. You may be very much in the very beginning of what you're trying to do for your business. So you may not have any numbers, but you may have an amount of units you want to sell instead. And that's fine too. What I'm going to tell you is convert it to a number. The number is what's going to matter for you. The dollar amount is what's going to charge you, is what's going to do it. So if you want to be able to take that, you can have the units and do that. But you're going to want to have the number. And to have that number, you, again, will take whatever you have from your previous knowledge. And again, if you're at the very beginning, maybe you don't know, go talk to your office manager, your managing broker, your broker of your office, and talk to them and kind of figure out what the office numbers are, what they have experienced from new agents typically, right? Get an average, figure out what you can expect. Do they make 25,000? Do they make 100,000? Do they make, and again, understand everybody's a little bit different. So this will always work a little differently for you, but, move that along for that to have for your business. But have that number. Now, I'm going to take a pause here real quick and just tell you this, that I did create a little spreadsheet for people, and it's going to be helpful for not only this first step, but the next couple steps down there, because we got to know a couple things about our business. So once you have identified your numbers, like 100,000, 250, whatever it is, you're going to have that out there, and you're going to have that out there. But you're going to want to be able to know what that looks like, what that translates out to. 100,000 GCI, gross commission income. What does that translate to you in units, right? How many units is that going to cost me? Is that even a realistic number? And you may want to test that out in your market. So I have a spreadsheet that you guys are welcome to use. You guys can go after it, and you can go sign up for it, and you can copy it down. And all you got to do is input a couple variables in there. And when the first place to find it, you will come in there and you will go to bit.ly/RE goals. So it's bit.ly/RE goals. And when you get that, you can now download that spreadsheet. You can't use it from here, so you're going to have to download it. Or if you have a Google Drive, because that's where I created it from, you could just copy it to your Google Drive and you could use it and do what you want with it. It's yours to use. But what happens is you put $100,000 and it's going to start calculating how many units you want to do. But you're going to have to know a couple other factors in there to get that done. And you're going to have to know a couple numbers to know exactly what's going to take. So you're going to have to know your average sales and buy prices, right? Did you average 150,000 in average sales? Is it 250,000? Is it 500,000? What are your average sale prices in your market or in what you've done for business? Now, if you don't know your numbers, again, if you are too new and you haven't really, quote unquote, had numbers yet, you will be able to use a couple different things to get that done. One, you can use your office numbers. You can ask, again, your office manager, your managing broker, your broker, whoever that may be, and you can ask them for those numbers. But the other thing you can do is look into your MLS and do a study in the areas that you want to become the agent in, and you can research those numbers in there, figure out what the average sale price is in the subdivision that you want to work, in the community that you want to work, figure out what those numbers are, and that's what you're going to kind of work with. So again, it's either your numbers, your office's numbers, or the area numbers that you're looking to do. So that's average sale price. That's one of the things you're going to want to have. You're going to want to know when you pull this sheet out, you're going to have to figure out that number. You're also going to know what the average commission. Again, if you've done enough business and you have that out there, you have numbers. So, whatever that commission is, we're not going to talk commission, because remember, we all have to be careful about having conversations about commission, especially when I am broadcasting these things out there. We're not going to talk about that, but whatever your average commission is, again, if you don't have those numbers, you can talk to your office and find out what their numbers are. And that's usually a pretty good strategy to use, because they're going to be teaching you how to convert some business, right? So they're going to have strategies, they're going to have conversations, scripts for you to use to get that done. And then you're going to want to know what your office split is, right? Then when you talk about office split, if you're not familiar with that, what you're talking about from there is what are you paying the office from every transaction, right? What percentage basically is that business? Now, I know not every model has that percentage out there. And if you have chosen an office that doesn't do that, you do a flat fee type of thing, then you will want to kind of convert that into a number, right? You want to convert that to a percentage in there, just so you kind of know what that looks like. But those are the three things you want to know. Now, the reason I mentioned that, again, remember, it's bit.ly/RE goals, and you can go use it. Now, the reason I mentioned that here in the first step and how much you want to make, again, I told you at the very beginning, some of you say, I don't know what I want to do. I know I just want to do 5 deals. Okay, fine. I still think you want to convert it to a number. So when you're saying your goals, this is what you're charged by. This is what you're doing. You want to know that you want to make X amount of money by the end of the year, whenever it is. That spreadsheet also has a second tab on there, and all you have to do, you got to still know the same thing: average sales, average commission, office split. You got to know those numbers. But then all you got to do is put the unit number in place, and it's going to calculate out what that looks like as far as a dollar value, right? If you put 5 units in there and you're averaging $100,000, it's going to be, I don't know, I'm going to guess quickly, it's going to be right around, $20,000 you have made that year, something like that. In GCI, gross commission income. Now remember, that's gross commission. That's not net. So that's, before taxes. That's before everything. So please understand, that's not counting your expenses, not counting anything else that you do in real estate, but that's what you're looking for. So that's just step 1. That is just step 1. Step 2 is, what do you want to give to do this? Now, some people look at this as, what are you looking to sacrifice? What are you looking to give up for this? And I would say, don't look at saying what you're going to give up for this. I think that's the wrong way to look at this. I think it's the wrong way to look at this for one real simple reason. We're here as a person to give, right? We're here to help others. And that's what we're doing. Hopefully what we're doing for our real estate career. We're here to help others. So don't look at what you're giving up, but you do have to understand that to go after this, and go after this with all your heart, and to go after this with all your energy, there will be sacrifices made. Are you going to have to get up an hour earlier in the morning to get the things done that you want to do? Are you going to have to give up your weekends, which is probably going to happen? Are you going to have to give up a hobby that you like to do, right? It's not something that I want you to sit there and write out saying, I'm going to give up these things, because that's not what I want you to think of. I want you to understand that there will be sacrifices that you probably are going to have to make to do this. Now, please understand, and we're going to talk about this in future episodes, be careful about what you're choosing, because there is a yin and yang in life, and there is an energy drain and give in life. And you need to make sure things that you're doing can recharge you just as much as anything else that'll happen to you. So I would say, make a list of things that you know that will have to be done to make this happen, right? Different things that will have to come out of this as far as the what's to give that will happen for you. Again, another thing that I look at with this is what do I have to do to have this happen, right? So another way of looking at step 2 and what do I got to give in return for the money I desire is, I'm going after certain things. Things in my life may change. So certain friends that I have, maybe even family members that I have that don't fit that model anymore, I won't say are being sacrificed, but may not become priority in your life anymore, right? They may not become that way for you. And again, the other way I'm going to look at this, and the other one, and I am a trainer, so I'm biased on this conversation, is I also think the way you want to look at this is, okay, I made $50,000 in GCI last year, and I want to make 150, right? I don't want to only double it. I want to triple it. Well, I might not have the models in place to make that happen yet. So what training am I going to need to take to make that happen? Right? What am I going to need to do to get that to the right place? Right. So again, just understand that when you say what you're going to give in return, some people always say give up. I don't like that term. I don't even like the word sacrifice. I do want you to think of things that are going to change in your life because of this. And you have to be prepared that things will modify and priorities will change for you because of it. Third, when do you want to do this by? Have a very specific date that you do to accomplish this goal. Now, don't say, I want it to be done by 2022, right? It's a date, right? And it's a good date. But if you're going to do that, have a very specific date. I want this to be done by January 1st of 2022. That way, it's out there, and it's going to become relevant here in a second on why we want to do that. But please understand that having that date is going to be extremely important, and having that identified for you is going to matter. So have a very specific date. Four is, what are going to be the actual steps that you do? And this one's kind of tough, right? So when we're doing this, we need to know what it's going to take to get this done. That's why I talked about earlier in step 1, going to that spreadsheet that I have that you can download and put your numbers in, because it's going to tell you how many units you need to create. So let's say I said I want to make $100,000 and my average price point is $250. I'm just making up numbers here. If I use that, I put some of the other numbers down, average sales price, average commission, it's probably going to come out to, roughly 12 to 15 different properties that are out there that I'm going to need to sell. Well, let's just say, for simplicity purposes, it came out to 12. Well, that means I have to have a closing once a month. Well, what does that mean for me? How many people do I got to talk to on a monthly, weekly, daily basis that's going to get me to get those transactions, right? Am I a list agent? Am I a buy agent? What am I doing for my business? How am I going after it? Am I both? Am I doing both sides of the business at this point? What does that look like for you? So when you're doing this, understand that you're going to need to know that. And you're going to need to know what those steps are. How many phone calls I'm going to make on a daily basis? How many people am I going to talk to? How many new leads do I plan on getting? How am I going to accomplish this? Now, I do most of my stuff from a training world these days. And later on in the blog posts that you guys can see and go to, I will have a little image of what mine looks like. I have very specific steps, 5-6 steps in there, if not more these days, that when I have it out there, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I know the exact steps I'm going to do. So again, just as an example, I want to make $100,000 by January 1st, 2022. And I intend on making 5 phone calls daily. I intend on going to 2 networking events monthly. I intend on going to 5 open houses weekly, right? These are the steps you want to put in there, and it can be multiple steps, right? It doesn't have to be just one step that's out there. So you can put multiples out there. And like I said, if you go back to the blog at the end, you will see this, and I'll put it in all the places out there. And again, just for some of you guys that are new to this and you're catching me from just a purely podcast side of this world, I do have a Facebook group. I have this on YouTube and other places right now. And I'll put the links to all this stuff out there so you have access to it from there as well. But make sure those steps are there. And I will make sure I get you those ideas. So you can just have it out there. Again, mine will be more of a training situation, but you want to have those specific steps that are necessary for you for your business. Number 5, write a concise statement. So now that you have written all these signs out, you have written the numbers, you have written your date, you have written the actual steps, right? You have written all this out here. Now what you want to do is make sure that you have it written somewhere, and you want to have it written. Now, I type it out. I actually use Canva because I create a little postcard size thing out there that has it out there. I print them out. Now I have them all over the place, but write them out. And there is something with actually writing it out. So the first thing that I recommend doing before you put it digitally is write it out by hand. Have a little notebook, write it out by hand. There is something that goes on there. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but there is something to it that when you write it out by hand, you are actually doing, I believe, something with your subconscious, that you're kind of ingraining it in there and you're making it a little more powerful for you. So please make sure you do that. And then once you do that, then write it out, digitally, whatever you want. And if you don't want to do that, just leave it in the notebook. Just have it somewhere you can see it at all times. And it doesn't have to be long, right? Again, it's going to be, I intend on making $100,000 by January 1st, 2022. I am going to make 5 phone calls daily. I'm going to go to 2 open houses. I'm going to have 2 open houses weekly. I am going to go to a networking event monthly, whatever it is, right? Those intentions that you're going to do, that you're going to follow to get to that business. And then have it written out, and then have it visible at all places. Have it as your background on your computer if you really want to. Have it on your background as your phone, right? There are ways that you can put this out here that will make it in there and kind of ingrain it for you. I have actually seen some people actually have it basically behind their phone cover, that will then just show it there. It's just sitting right there in their face. And the reason you want this is because of the last step, and that is step 6. You're going to read this twice daily, a minimum of twice daily, and you are going to read this aloud. So what you're going to do is you're going to read that written statement aloud, but you're going to read it with the energy and the emotion that you have succeeded with the goal, right? Now I'm going to step back 1 second, because there are 2 ways of writing the statement. You can write the statement like, I will make 100,000K, or you can, and I would try both and see what one speaks to you. You can say, I will make this, or you can write it, I have made 100,000K on January 1st, 2021. There is a small difference there, and that goes back to step 6. And that step 6 is this. Again, you're going to read it out loud. You're going to have that emotion like you have successfully made that money. You're going to feel the stress of your body leave. You're going to feel the happiness come to your face, right? You have made the money. You have accomplished your goal. And you're going to read it like that. You're not just going to read it saying, You're going to read the goal with that emotion, with that energy. Smile, be in there, feel that success. Imagine in your head what that looks like for you. Imagine in your brain what that is doing for you in your professional and personal lives, right? That money is going to help you accomplish a lot of things for you, right? It's going to create more freedoms for you. It's going to do what you need to do. Have those goals written for you. Have those out there and in place. And do it with the emotion as you have succeeded with that goal. Now, the reason you want to do this is your subconscious is a literal being, right? Your subconscious is an entity that is always listening. It's kind of like your phone at this point in time, right? Your phone is always listening to you, and it's listening to you and taking all that information in and using what it deems usable for it. Well, that's the same thing your subconscious is doing. Your subconscious is listening at all times. The difference is your subconscious is taking it all in. So when you're starting to say things to yourself and you're starting to say things, especially maybe on the less positive side, it's just saying, okay, well, that's reality, right? And that's what it's going to act. That's how it's going to handle your life. So when you keep telling yourself and you keep telling yourself you made that money, you're building what is called a burning desire, what Napoleon Hill calls a burning desire. Your subconscious is just feeling that energy and it knows it's going to succeed. And your subconscious then is going to do everything it can to live the life that it believes it's living. So it's going to motivate you to make those phone calls. It's going to motivate you to do what you need to do, get you past your fears that are going to happen for your business. So those are the 6 steps. Those are the steps that we should do. And again, just to recite them again, you are going to say how much you're going to make. You are going to say what you're going to give up. Again, it's not give up. It is just understand that there are going to be things that are prioritized differently. When are you going to do it? What do you want? What are the actual steps that you're going to take it to get it done by? Write a concise statement and read it out loud with the emotion of succeeding. I hope this was something of value to everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have questions, let me know. Write them in the chat boxes that you see with this post. Write them in, the podcasting platform that it's on. Find everything that you want to do for this. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you on the next episode, and we'll see you then.